Hello there, everybody. We are Group 4 and welcome to our crash course on data collection for quantitative research. We are thrilled to share insights that can help you become better researchers. But before we start, let us first introduce ourselves. I am Crisbel.
I am Trisha.
I am Christine.
I am Nina.
I am Kyle.
I am Nova.
I am Celine.
I am Stephanie.
I am Katlea.
Today, we'll guide you through the basic and practical applications of data collection for quantitative research.
What makes this significant? One of the most important aspects of quantitative research is data collecting, which ensures the accuracy and reliability of the results we produce. In any field, it is crucial for problem solving, decision making, and knowledge advancement.
By the end of this video, you'll understand what data collection is, its method, tools, and challenges that researchers face. So, let's get started.
Let's first discuss what data collection is. In quantitative research, the systematic method of obtaining numerical data in order to address research question or test hypothesis is known as data collection.
Its objective is to supply reliable and precise information, which serves as the basis for good judgment and legitimate conclusions. For instance, without proper data collection, even the most well-planned study can lead to biased and unreliable results.
The key here is a systematic approach. Adhering to a systematic procedure minimizes bias, reduces the number of errors, and ensures that the data you gathered accurately reflects the subject matter of your study.
Data collection can be divided into a primary and secondary data. Primary data is gathered directly from the source for a specific research purposes, like survey, experiment, or interviews. Since it answers the question directly, it is regarded as most reliable and relevant. Secondary data, on the other hand, is collected for a different reason and might not be appropriate for the study you are conducting.
Now, let's explore the main methods of data collection in quantitative research, which each of us will explain in detail.
Quantitative surveys and interviews are among the most commonly used methods in quantitative research. They involve asking respondents a set of standardized questions to gather data on their behavior, opinions, or demographics.
Why are they important? Surveys allow researchers to collect large amounts of data quickly and efficiently. Interviews, in particular, are valuable because they provide opportunities for clarification and follow-up questions, ensuring more accurate and in-depth responses. Surveys and interviews are flexible methods that can be done online, on paper, or face-to-face. However, interviews may face difficulties in controlling responses, and interviews can be time-consuming.
For example, you might create a survey to gather general information about student study habits, such as how many hours they study each week and which methods they commonly use.
Quantitative experiments are another key method. This involves manipulating one or more variables under controlled condition to observe their effect on another variable. It takes the form of laboratory or field experiments.
This method is widely used in fields like psychology, medicine, and education. An example of an experiment would be evaluating the effects of various fertilizers on plants' growth.
The strength and the advantages of quantitative experiments lie in their ability to establish cause and effect relationships, making them powerful tools for quantitative research. However, they can be costly, time-consuming, and hard to replicate in real-life settings.
Quantitative observation involves systematical watching and recording behaviors or phenomena as they occur naturally. It's useful which researchers need to study actions or events directly.
For example, a researcher might observe how students interact with group activities to understand teamwork dynamics.
Quantitative observations helps capture real-life behavior, making the data relevant. However, it can take time, be affected by bias, and cause participants to change their behavior if they know they are being watched.
Lastly, we have secondary data, which involves using existing datasets collected by the others. This method saves time and resources while still providing valuable insights.
For instance, Analyzing government health statistics to study disease trends is a common use of secondary data.
However, researchers must ensure the data's quality and relevance to the specific study.
And now, let's talk about the tools and instruments used in data collection. These vary depending on the method.
For surveys, tools like Google Forms, Typeform, or paper questionnaires are common. In experiments, researchers use lab equipment such as thermometers, scales, or software like SPSS.
In addition, pre-testing is crucial for ensuring your tools are reliable. For example, pilot testing a survey helps identify confusing questions and improves clarity before collecting data.
Let's pause for a moment. What data collection method have you encountered in your own experience? Share your thoughts with us.
I once used surveys to gather my classmates' opinions. It was interesting but challenging also to get everyone respond and understand the questions. And I also learned that designing a good question is so crucial.
Let's see an example in action. Let's say we are surveying students to determine their favorite brownies. To collect feedback on the various brownie taste, an ABM student is providing free sampling.
This practical demonstration shows how surveys are conducted and how responses are collected for analysis.
Data collection isn't complete without challenges. Common issues include low response rates, unclear survey questions, and technical difficulties.
To overcome these challenges, researchers should focus on clear communication, pre-testing tools, and making participation as easy as possible.
To sum up, we discussed the purpose of data collection, the methods involved, the tools used, and the challenges research faces.
Now, we'd love to hear from you. Do you have any additional questions or insights to share before we wrap up?
Thank you for the discussion. I really learned a lot how important it is to collect accurate data and how methods like surveys and experiments use it in my real life. I learned also how to apply this in my own research.
Let's move on to a real-life example to illustrate the importance of choosing the right data collection method. Consider the case of a health researcher studying the effectiveness of a new exercise program on reducing cholesterol levels. When we think about this,
we are reminded that data collection is not a one-size-fits-all approach. The method you choose can make or break the integrity of the research findings. In this scenario, a researcher has several options for collecting data. They might choose to collect data through surveys, experiments, or observations, depending on what they want to measure and how they plan to analyze the results. Each method has its strengths and weaknesses, and selecting the right one requires careful consideration of the research question and the type of data needed.
To begin with, let's consider how the researcher could use quantitative surveys to collect self-reported data on participants' exercise habits before and after the program. Surveys are a great tool when you want to collect data from a large number of participants quickly and efficiently. The researcher might ask questions like, how many times per week do you engage in physical activity? Or, on average, how many minutes do you exercise per session? However, self-reported data can have its limitations. People tend to overstate their positive behaviors, such as exercise, or may forget to record their habits accurately. This is known as social desirability bias, which is the tendency to present oneself in a favorable light. To minimize these biases, the researcher could include objective measures like fitness trackers or baseline health metrics such as cholesterol levels as a way to validate the self-reported data.
To further improve the quality and validity of the research, the researcher might also choose to incorporate experiments, specifically controlled trials, by randomly assigning participants to either the exercise program group or control group. The researcher can ensure that the results are due to the exercise program itself, rather than the other external factors like diet or previous health conditions. In a controlled trial, the researcher can make sure that all the variables are held constant except for the intervention in the exercise program. For example, participants in the control group would not follow the exercise schedule, allowing the researcher to compare the effects of the program directly. This type of experimental design helps researchers establish a cause-and-effect relationship between the exercise program and changes in cholesterol level.
What's valuable about this approach is the ability to track changes over time by measuring cholesterol levels, both before and after the exercise program. The researcher can analyze how much improvement occurs and if the program is truly making a difference. The longitudinal data can be incredibly powerful in drawing more reliable conclusions about the effectiveness of the program. In order to track how participants' cholesterol levels change over time, the researcher may also gather data at various intervals during the trial, such as weeks 4, 8, and 12. This method offers a more thorough comprehension of the health effects of the fitness program and whether the changes are temporary or long-lasting.
It is also important to note that combining different data collection methods doesn't just improve data accuracy, it also increases reliability and validity. By cross-checking data-formed surveys with experimental results, the researcher can reduce the risk of bias and misinterpretation. Thus, one of the main benefits of employing a mixed method strategy is that different kinds of data may support and validate one another. Furthermore, the ability to compare data across groups, such as the experimental group versus the control group, adds another layer of certainty to the findings. This is especially crucial in health-related research, where the risks are high, and the data needs to be robust enough to inform real-world decisions about treatment or public health policies.
This example also illustrates the importance of using the right data collection method to answer a specific research question. In this case, while the surveys provide insight into participants' self-reported behavior, the experimental design is the key to answering the core research question. Does the exercise program reduce cholesterol levels? The value of a controlled experiment is that it helps isolate the impact of the exercise program, separate from the other variables. Without a well-designed experimental method, it will be difficult to conclude whenever the observed changes in cholesterol were due to the exercise or to other factors such as change in diet, stress levels, or medication.
As we've seen, each other of data collection, whether survey, experiments, or other, has its role in research. But it's not just about choosing one method over another. A well-designed study often combines different methods to create a more holistic picture of the research question. Think of it adding layers to a painting. Each layer contributes to the overall image, but none of them alone tells the full story. Researchers need to understand not only the strengths and weaknesses of each other method, but also how they can complement each other. By combining quantitative methods like survey with qualitative methods like interviews or case studies, or with more structured experimental designs, the research becomes more rounded and the conclusions drawn are more reliable and comprehensive.
At this point, we've covered how combining multiple methods help address a research question from different angles. But there's another crucial aspect to consider. Ethical considerations in data collection. No matter how rigorous or well-designed the research is, it must always prioritize the rights, dignity, and well-being of participants. Ethical standards are not just about compliance with laws or guidelines. They are about building trust with participants. This trust is critical to getting honest and accurate data. Without ethical practices, participants may withdraw or give skewed information, which compromises the study.
Indeed, when collecting data, ethical considerations are crucial. Researchers need to prioritize participant welfare and ensure their data collection methods are not invasive or harmful. For example, if you are conducting research on sensitive topics like mental health, you must provide participants with clear information about the purpose of the study and how the data will be used. One of the most important ethical principles is informed consent. Indeed, when collecting data, ethical considerations are crucial. Researchers need to prioritize participants' welfare and ensure the data collection methods are not invasive or harmful. For example, if you are conducting research on sensitive topics like mental health, you must provide participants with clear information about the purpose of the study and how their data will be used. One of the most important ethical principles is informed consent. Participants must fully understand the study, what it involves, and any potential risk before agreeing to participate. Researchers must ensure that participants have the right to withdraw from the study at any time without facing negative consequences. This principle ensures that participation is voluntary and based on understanding.
Lastly, another critical ethical consideration is maintaining confidentiality and privacy. For instance, if you're conducting a survey on sensitive topics like mental health or financial stress, it is essential to provide a clear disclaimer explaining how the data will be used, ensuring participants know that their responses will remain anonymous. Anonymizing data where possible and using secure methods for data storage is vital in safeguarding the participants' privacy. It is also important to recognize that some research involves vulnerable populations, such as children, the elderly, or individuals with mental health conditions who may need additional protection or support throughout the data collection process.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember, effective data collection is the backbone of reliable research.
By mastering these methods, you're taking a big step toward becoming a skilled and competent researcher.